What are we gonna do now, Yogi?
Hey, boo boo. First, we're gonna get ourselves a picnic basket full of goodies. Then, we're gonna watch our favorite show. Hey, I'm talking here with Steve Rizzo and Eric Bam, the Bam Man.
That sounds like a wonderful idea, Yogi.
It certainly does. That's because I'm smarter than the average bear.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-dum, bum. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hey, I'm Talking Here. I'm Steve Rizzo. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, please share this with friends. Our goal is to get the message out. And the way things are in this country, not that everything's super bad, but it could be significantly better. And this is a show that can take you to a better place personally and professionally. So we welcome your comments. Please share with friends, family, and people that you don't even like. I don't care who it is, just share it with people. That would be a wonderful thing to do. And as so many of you regular viewers know, this show is brought to you by Conversations with Bob. Ooh, there it is, the book. Here it is here again. That's my recent book that's been out for a couple of months now. It's getting wonderful reviews. You can get a copy of the book. Just go to yourinnerbob.com. You can purchase it on Amazon. Your Inner Bob. Thank you for that, Bruce. Yourinnerbob.com. You could pay PayPal or Amazon. And if you like the book, and I know you will, please give a review. It goes a long way. And so far, every one of the reviews, both of them, I'm only kidding, there's a lot more, have been 5 stars. So I want to thank Jim Perry for signing in. How you doing, Jim? Go Bob has got your back. Yes, he does. Thanks, Jim. Great to hear from you. Sean. Sounds like a great show tonight. You know what, Sean? It really is because, first of all, I have a wonderful team. Let me say that, first of all, Debbie will not be able to make it. She is in San Diego on a very important mission. And, but it's my pleasure to introduce you, my tech guy, my director, my producer, the guy who puts all of this together. And I think he's a tech genius. My friend, Bruce. There he is. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for that pause because I needed to switch screens or to pull down the book's
I,
title.
I kind of like knew that. That's why I gave the pause. Oh, my dear friend Taris is here, and I'm so upset because Taris moved. She was a good friend of mine. She lived here on Long Island with me, and I used to go over and have dinner with her and her husband, and we always had a blast. Maybe drank a little too much wine, but who gives a crap? But
So is Long Island still part of New York, or they
yeah,
seceded?
yeah. What's wrong with you? Come on. Yeah, don't you know nothing? For crying out loud. Love you, Taris. Love you a lot. Brian, how are you? Good evening.
There's
And
again.
Jim's back. Does that say all good? That was all good. Hey, Brian, what's
All
up?
good.
Yeah. So anyway, Bruce. By the way, folks, I was just commenting to Bruce on what a scrupulous job he does on this show, and I know it's not easy, especially for me, to do what he does, but he does it so well, and it's really important to us, and it's important to you too, because we really want to get the message out. Please share this with your friends and family, and talk about it if you like the show, and if you listen, I know you will. And without any further ado, I know Bruce agrees with me on that. Let me
Yep.
bring up my friend and my one of my co-hosts who is here today, and he hasn't been here in a while because he's been super busy. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's welcome Mr. Eric Bam, as they call him, the Bam Man. Oh, what a wonderful book he's reading.
Oh, sorry, fellas. I was on page 120, and I love this book, and I've read it 3 times now. Nothing can distort the way you view your life and your surrounding world more than toxic beliefs. They have the power to paralyze you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, Bob. And then the next little line under that: so whether positive or negative, my beliefs are the foundation of my life. My success and happiness are built upon them.
Wow,
Right
you know the
there.
guy that wrote
This
that must
book
be a
from
genius.
you, sir.
Well, I think that
Thank
goes with
you.
a thing, which is whether you think you can succeed or fail, you're right.
True
Yeah,
that.
It's all a matter of
absolutely.
True
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I always tell people if you think you're an idiot, you're right. Even if it isn't true, if you believe that you're an idiot, you are right.
And I'm right 100% of the time when I say that.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, because I know this is part of the book also, but I love today's topic.
Yeah.
And I like your idea for next week's topic. By the way, folks, we're going to be on next Thursday too. Usually it's every other Thursday, but it's going to be this Thursday again. And it's going to be about, tell them, Eric.
It's going to be about Thanksgiving, and we're actually going to put the code, the StreamYard link over here where you can jump on the show, take a minute or two and talk about what you're thankful for.
Yep.
And I think it's great. I love this subject today too, talking about acts of kindness.
Yeah.
And I think when we think of acts of kindness, we think of doing something for someone else, right? Sometimes the biggest act of kindness is just giving yourself grace or showing gratitude, because gratitude comes back to you tenfold. And so for people to jump on here next week and take a minute, say, I'm thankful for this and this and this and this. You know what? The blessing in a weird way comes back and makes you feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being kind to yourself is something that a lot of people have a tough time doing, especially today in our climate in this country. You berate yourself all the time. Why didn't I do that? How come I don't have enough money? Or I keep making mistakes. Why does everybody have what I want? I'm such an idiot. Whatever it is. Some people call that negative self-talk. I call it self-curse talk, because You're casting a spell on your life.
Yep.
And you're actually, you're ignoring any chance that you have to enjoy the day.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you may be doing. And we're not aware that we're doing this to ourselves. And that's where the danger is.
Yep.
With a lot of people, it has become commonplace. It's become a part of who they are. As soon as they wake up in the morning, they just start focusing on all of the crap that life has thrown them and all the mistakes they made. And how am I going to get out of this hole? And I shouldn't have done this and I shouldn't have done that. Or maybe I should have done this. And they take that throughout the day and it snowballs.
A lot of people, first thing they do, they get up in the morning and they turn on the news.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it puts them in a bad mood. So you need to open up with a song and play music in the morning as opposed to watching the news.
Yeah. I think the worst thing you can do is go to sleep, watch the news, and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
And people wonder, I don't know why I can't sleep. Well, you got to be kidding me. Then you wake up in the morning and you're groggy. You as soon as you open up your eyes to greet the day, you start focusing on the grueling day you had the day before, all the crap that didn't work out. You're thinking of all the stuff that has to be done on that day. And on the news, you're listening to the economy is tanking, another murder in New York City or in Chicago or in Oregon, political upheaval. Hundreds of thousands of immigrants are coming in and they're carrying the COVID virus. And you might not be thinking that that's seeping into your brain, but unconsciously it is.
Yeah,
it is. And you're taking that crap with you throughout the day. It interferes with decision making. It interferes with relationships that you have with your family, your children, your wife, your husband, and your business associates. And we're not aware of it. You've got to start taking control of your life, and you got to start thinking what you're thinking. But the most important thing, which is the title today, is be kind to yourself and be kind to others. It's easy to do. The more you make that a habit, the more it becomes a part of who you are. As a matter of fact, when you do an act of kindness to someone, notice how it makes you feel. Even if it's holding the door open for someone, and they go, "Thank you very much," and you just smile. You go, "Thank you." Am I right?
I have to tell you, I'm so glad. Hello, Robert. I'm so
glad
Robert, you mentioned holding the door open. One of the weird things I've noticed in the last couple of years, and maybe just because I've noticed it, right? So I'll take Ruby, my 3-year-old, to daycare in the morning, right? And I'll open the door. There'll be moms coming up with kids, and I'll hold the door open. And do you know, 99 out of 100 times when I hold the door open for them, they still touch the door handle like they think I'm just going to let it go and slam it on them. And I don't know if that's a weird like thing in society now. Like they feel like, well, maybe this jerk off's not going to hold the door open for it. And they will touch it almost every single time.
I know.
It's odd to me. I want to come back to what you just said, talking about the news. And this show is acts of kindness. And like I said, as I've thought about it the last couple of weeks, we think of that as doing for others. You want to do an act of kindness for yourself? Unfollow every news channel on social media. stop watching stop watching 24-hour news, because it's not news. It turns into more opinion. And I don't care whether you like Fox or CNN or whatever you like, it becomes opinion more than fact. Want to do yourself an act of kindness for you? Watch your anxiety level go down. Stop. Just unfollow all that stuff on social media. All of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And by the way, I gotta make a comment on what Eric Flannery just said. Why don't we do this show every Thursday instead of every other Thursday? That might be a good idea. And let's talk about that, the three of us, after the show. If we can do that, work something out to do that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. You've always been, man, Eric's a great guy, number one.
He is.
And,
he is.
Out of anyone that, he is so into bettering himself.
Yep.
He listens to all of the shows, not just ours, but the ones that I'm on, the one that you guys are on. He listens, and he's always got positive comments to say about everything and everyone. And for those of you who are not responding to, we try to get to all of your remarks. It's hard to get to everyone, but for those of you who are telling me that you purchased my book, thank you so much. I so much appreciate it. Hey, Susan, how are you? We love wine. That's Taris. Of course we do. What's the matter with you?
You know, to maybe dig into like the actual maybe nuts and bolts of acts of kindness. You know, I told you this story. I've got two of them, but I told you this story about it happened to me. I love to, if I'm at McDonald's in the drive-thru in the morning, I will pretty much 100% of the time buy for the person behind me, because you know the odds are pretty good. It's about $6, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a day I pull up, and I always, if I pull up and I buy for the person behind me, I really hope when I get to the window to get my food, I can just go and like give them a little wave, like, hey, have a great day. I don't want it to be weird, you know, and have to like look at each other in the mirror and me, you know, whatever. And so anyway, that happened to be this day. I bought for the guy behind me. Older gentleman. I pulled up to the first window, and I'm waiting. And I see him, the lady in the window, talking to him, and he literally put his van into park, and he walked up the side of the drive-thru and came up to my window, and he said, I'll never forget it. He said, "Thank you so much. You have no idea what's going on in my life right now." His wife's in the hospital, and he said, we're broke. And he was just the most touching moment. And wow. I just, hey man, you're welcome. I hope things get better. And you know, you just never know sometimes, just those little things, and how buying someone a coffee in the morning makes all the difference for their day.
Didn't that lift your spirit though? That's my point.
I felt so good.
And I think we all have to understand that. I think the reason why people can't find the kindness to themselves, let alone give it to other people, is because kindness comes from a state of love. Yeah. It's synonymous with it. Yeah. And too many people don't love themselves, and they don't love life.
Right.
And one time I was at McDonald's, and this person behind me is honking their horn like hurry up with your order. Yeah. So I go up to the window, and I pay for their meal to see what their reaction is.
Yeah.
And so I drive up to the window to get my food, take their food too, drive away.
Bruce didn't do that. That is not freaking true.
Okay, Bruce, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
See you, Bruce. I'll give you another great story, because I think I write this. This is PMQ magazine, and I write an article in here monthly, and this one just came out in November, and I'm talking about being thankful, right? And why be thankful, and why I live that way. But one of the things I wrote is gratitude makes you give with zero expectation. When you give with the right heart, good things come back, right? And it just always does. And there was a lady who I'm friends with on Facebook. I'd never met her before. And it was 2 years ago. It was kind of during the middle of COVID. And her son, and she doesn't have a lot of money. She's pretty just down on her luck. And her son had gone to this church camp, and they said, hey, he needs to run track. This kid's really fast. And so she posted this video and she was crying. She was sobbing in tears about she couldn't afford shoes for him to run track. So I sent her a DM, and I said, hey, what's your email address? And she wrote me back. She said, what's this? Why? And I said, well, check your email. And I sent her a $50 Walmart gift card. And I just said, hey, look, go buy him some shoes at Walmart. And I left it alone. And she said to me, well, I want to post something and say thank you. And you don't need to do anything. Nothing. Right. No kidding. The very next day, my boss called me and he goes, hey, you get paid tomorrow. We put an extra $500 on your paycheck. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Wow.
And it's like that. When you give with the right heart and from a space of gratitude, God is going to give it back to you so much that you won't even believe it.
You do the act from here and not to get something in return.
Oh, 100%.
As a result, you do get something in return. You know, I tell you, you know, we all get in bad moods. I do. We all do. But I have come to the point in my life where I know when I'm really in a low mood, a bad mood, an angry mood, whatever it may be, I know doing something nice for someone, giving someone a compliment always lifts me up. And the story that I'm going to tell now, I'm not saying it to impress anyone, but only to impress upon you what this did to me till this day. And it was a long time ago. It was during the Gulf War, which was what, 92? Yeah. 1992. And most of you remember the Gulf War. And I was at Dallas Fort Worth Airport. And I was talking to these 3 Marines at the gate area at Dallas, and they were going from Dallas on leave to New York for 2 weeks. But after the 2-week leave, they were going to Iraq to fight. Yeah. So the ticket agent went up to the 3 Marines and said, guys, I am so sorry. And she was a little emotional. Right. And she said, I appreciate what you do so much. I tried to get you an upgrade to first class, but all the seats were taken. I wish I could have done that. Yeah. And the Marines looked at her and said, ma'am, we didn't even think of that, but thank you for even thinking of us. So when I heard that, I was flying first class and I knew I was giving my seat up. Right. I needed 2 more volunteers. So I asked. Some people didn't, acknowledge. And there was a man and a woman who gave up their first class seats along with me. I got to tell you, Eric, you should have seen the look on these Marines' faces when we gave. They couldn't believe it. Right. But more than that, you should have seen the look on our faces when we got off the plane and all 3 Marines were waiting for us, standing at attention, saluting us. Oh, immediately, the woman and the other guy, we just held each other. And how could that not lift your spirit? How could that not make you feel good? Right. And it was really from that moment on that I just said, you know what? I can take this to this level anytime I want to. Yeah. And it's just a matter of doing it, letting go of the shit that's bringing you down throughout the day and do something nice. Notice how much better it makes you feel. And we all have the power to do this. Yeah. I got, like, I'm getting teary. I can picture that. I know you well enough to know how you felt in that moment. I will tell you, I started doing my annual coat drive again this year, and the Mega Mind group, you're part of it. Bruce is part of it. And we started doing mega coats a couple of years ago. And the first year I had 140 coats in my car. Right. And I pull up to, and I'm doing a coat drive again. So if you're in the Tulsa area and you want to pick up coats, I've already got 7. I'm looking for 200 this year. But I pull up to the Mercy Mission in Glenpool, Oklahoma, south of Tulsa. And I walk in, I've got about 10 or 12 coats on my arms. And I said, hey, I've got these coats to drop off. They're like, oh, she's like, oh, that's cute. Thank you. And I'm like, oh, I got more. And I walk out and I get more, right? And I walk in and I said, oh, I've got more. And then she's like, how many coats do you have? I said, oh, I've got about 140 out here. And she's like, wait, what? And she proceeds to tell me that literally, and I probably of the 140, probably 60, 70% were men's coats, right? And she said, it just kind of gotten cold. And she said, we literally turned away 3 guys yesterday because we didn't have coats. And it was and I drove away from there and I drove there was a church parking lot, and I just bawled. Like I want to cry right now. I just bawled. It was like I did the work and I gave it all to them. Yep. Man, I got the blessing from having an act of kindness that honestly, it cost me nothing but some time to run around and pick up some coats. Yeah. And I got the blessing, and and I did it again last year, and I'm doing it again this year. And it's so easy. It's so easy to help. And it's so easy to give to other people. I think sometimes we just, I said this, we went to church last night,
and we talked about this, and you've heard me talk about this before. I talked about this in Toledo, Ohio, a couple weeks ago at an event I spoke at, that I think, hi, Ashley, I think we don't listen to our gut enough, because I think our gut is God. It's the universe. It's the divine. It's Bob from the book Bob. It's Bob. And it's something sometimes when things are put on us and we just push it away.
Yep.
When the reality is, if we listen to that, when that voice says, hey, help them, hey, buy their breakfast, hey, pick up 200 coats, hey, do what it, man, when we push that aside, we miss out on such a huge blessing.
And that's a great point. You know why we push that aside, Eric? Because that voice, that's your authentic part of you. That is the God part of you, the higher part, the force, the light, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter what you call it. We all have this part of us that is very subtle, very quiet. But the thing that stifles it is the big mouth inside your head.
Yeah.
As Bob says to Bernie in the book.
Yeah.
The big mouth inside your head is the ego. Yeah. That's the part of you that's always telling you what's wrong with your life. That's the part of you is always saying, what about my needs? I can't be concerned about other people. I got to take care of my shit first, or I can't be bothered with that. But when you listen to that subtle part of you, you realize that it's the most powerful part of you. And the more you acknowledge it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. And before you know it, you're stifling the big mouth inside your head, no matter how loud it is, because that higher part will go, no, I got to do this, whatever it may be.
Right.
Even there are so many people hurting today with what's happening with the economy, with, prices going up in gas and whatever, no matter where you turn, it's always negative stuff.
Right.
And sometimes people just need that little bit of acknowledgement. I was at a restaurant not too long ago, and there was a 16-year-old girl who was with a family, and she was sitting next to me at the restaurant and at my favorite restaurant, and we had a conversation. And I looked at her and I said, you have an incredible, gorgeous smile. And she looked at me, and all of a sudden she started crying. And I said, holy shit, what did I say wrong? But you know what it was? She told me a little later on, her mom and dad explained to me that her boyfriend dumped her because he said she wasn't pretty enough.
Mm.
And that little thing that I said was, I guess, a little something that brought her over that, because her friends and her family was trying to tell her, you're gorgeous. This guy's got a problem. But she was focusing on so much of this guy that dumped her because said he wasn't pretty enough, that what I said could have been that one thing that could have made her realize this guy's a friggin' moron.
Right. I thought you were going to say that she thought you were a perverted old man, but that's, neither here nor there. So what I love about what you just said is actually something that I wrote down to talk about today. So I mentioned I write this article, right, in PMQ magazine, Pizza magazine. And the article for next month, which is December 1st, one of the things I'm very interested by right now is, I think one of the best gifts that we can give people for Christmas is compliments. We wait for freaking people to die before we spew all the things we loved about them. And you want to give someone a great Christmas gift, write them a little personal handwritten note that says, here's what I love about you.
Yeah, don't text them, don't email them, send a personal note or a phone call, or better yet, in person.
I'm telling you, one of my favorite things, Sean Litvak is on here. He was on here earlier, and he just announced his new book is coming out. There we go. Proverbs for Leadership. This is coming out. And, I always felt kind of weird, like grown man to grown man saying, hey, I'm proud of you. But you know what? Like, I'm proud of him. I've known him for 3 years, and I'm so proud of him. And it's amazing. And I can't wait for this book to come out. And I can't wait to read it cover to cover, because and so sometimes it feels weird and awkward for a grown man. Like, hey, bro, I'm proud of you. Yeah. But it's powerful and it moves people. And yet we wait for people to die to have an act of kindness, to stand on the stage or to have a microphone and say, here's what I loved about Steve. And it's like, why are we doing what? Why are we holding back these?
Well, you're right. That's the first thing people say is, I wish I would have.
Right.
I wish I would have told her. I wish I would have told them. And by the way,
Yeah.
I know next week we're doing what is it?
Thanksgiving.
We want everyone. It's the week before Thanksgiving. We want everyone to talk about what they're thankful for. So please remember to write it down. Be on the show next week, and we'll read your comments. But what I want to say about Sean is the next show after that, let's have him on the show to promote his book.
We should, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
That's a good idea.
I know we don't want to run the show for like 2 hours. I wrote just the two other things I wrote down to talk about today that I think I mentioned when we first came on, talking about acts of kindness, and we think it's about giving and giving and giving. I think sometimes the biggest act of kindness we can do is to give to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote down, give yourself quiet time, and for the love of God, give yourself grace, right? And I read this every day. This is Jesus calling, and this is literally from today. Focus your entire being on my living presence. I'm most assuredly with you, enveloping you in my love and peace. While you relax in my presence, which is God, Bob, the divine universe, I am molding your mind and cleansing your heart. I'm recreating you into the one I designed you to be. And sometimes we don't take enough time in the morning or to shut the freaking heck up and shut this off and be quiet and give ourselves grace and take it back a little bit.
Stifle the big mouth.
Yeah.
And the only way you can stifle the big mouth is when you become aware that the big mouth is controlling your life.
Yeah.
When you're walking around throughout the day and you're in a bad mood, if you could allow yourself to stop and say, why am I feeling this way? You're feeling this way because your thought process and what you're focusing on is nothing but negative crap. You got to learn how to shift your way of thinking. Gradually shift your way of thinking and focus on what's working rather than fixating what isn't working. Bless the things that life has given you rather than cursing what life is currently throwing at you. And Carolyn Strauss, I absolutely love you. I haven't seen you in so long. She's a member of the National Speakers Association.
Well, Carolyn, can you call me and give me a compliment? My number is 918-812-0945. I will gladly take a compliment. You can DM me. I'll take a compliment anytime. I thank you very much.
Attitude of gratitude. That's it, John. Carolyn, I love you.
Well, attitude of gratitude is it's so, like you said, blessings flow into a space of gratitude. And when we take the time to have the act of kindness and give it to ourselves and be thankful, it just comes back to us so much.
It starts as soon as you open up your eyes to greet the day. That's when you can focus on what's working. Focus on what you're grateful for. It's so easy to do. I don't care who you are. Everyone that's listening, everyone out there, everyone could find out one little thing that you're grateful for, things that you appreciate, things that you really enjoy, things that could lift your spirit. Why not focus on that?
Yeah.
Why would you want to wake up before you take the covers off, focusing on the grueling day you had the day before and all the fires that weren't put out, the irate people that you had to deal with? I know people, they don't even give their brains a chance. They're thinking about all that shit that happened to them the day before, and then they wake up, the covers aren't even off, they're groggy, they reach over to their nightstand and they grab their iPhone or some other stupid apparatus and they start looking at all of the messages that they think need to be answered before they leave the house. And they wonder why they can't be kind to people. You're not even giving yourself a chance to greet the day.
Yeah.
And you take that with you.
Steve, what do you think about instant potatoes versus like real mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving? Do you have an opinion on that?
Okay, do me a favor, Bruce. Could you like get him off the show now? Folks, for you newcomers here, he did it too. For you folks, he does this all the time. We're in the middle of something real heavy, and all of a sudden he comes up with this out of the box question. Like, Steve, do you like onions or do you prefer them chopped or something? He does it all the time. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I love him.
The look on your face, you're like, really? Right now. Right now. Oh, that's funny.
I can just picture me, something real serious is happening to me and my last words are coming out. Well, really, Steve, did you ever see that movie?
Oh man, I do love this subject. I love the topic, and like I said, I just went to church last night and had some great conversations regarding almost kind of this stuff, and it just I think one of the biggest acts of kindness we can give to ourselves is to pray. Just take a little time. pray for what pray for your friends. And Jen Gittimer was on here one day and I talked about praying for my customers and how powerful it feels at times. And I think it's super important to just as much as I probably struggle with this, is just to be quiet. To be quiet, pull back a little bit and listen to our gut and listen to our intuition. But flip side of that coin, man, giving to others with no expectation of anything to come back is incredible. And, this show is a perfect example of it for me, quite honestly. I jumped in one day when Kellen was out and you and I have hit it off and we're friends and I love doing the show. And then I had somebody reach out to me and said, hey, do you do speaking and stuff? And I said, yeah, here's a link to a couple of things I've done with you on this show. And that turned into a speaking engagement, which is now turned into another one. And, all because I did this, I do this because I enjoy doing it and it's fun. I don't get anything other than just love from Steve, Bruce.
But you did it. You got on. I asked you to be on the show, and I think it was because you contacted me. It was an act of kindness to tell me when this show started many months ago, and you were commenting me on the show, and we had a conversation, and it was because of that act of kindness that you and I got to know each other. And then finally I said, you filled in for Kellen. Yeah. And then, I just said, wow, this guy is a perfect co-host.
Some Wally Pip action going on right there.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I know where, I don't know if you know, but he's back.
Oh, shit.
And now here's the weird thing. Here's the weird, for y'all that don't know, there's always a little Stretch Armstrong cameo, right? But here's what's weird in the last several months. Check out his underwear. I don't even know how this even happened. Like his underwear, they're wearing off, man. What's up with that?
I know. And it's embarrassing for Stretch. He's muscular, but he has no bulge in his underwear. What's that?
Be an act of kindness if I got a little Sharpie out, just colored that in, I think.
Okay, put me down now. Will you put me down? This is embarrassing.
I'm officially out of things to talk about today, shockingly. But
love and kindness are the most powerful weapons. Wrapped in gratitude, they become unstoppable.
True that.
Well said, Robert. Well said.
I said I had nothing else to say, but then based on that, from a sales standpoint, and I'm in sales, I'm vice president of sales and marketing for a couple of companies, and I don't sell anymore, right? But I give. I try to pour into people. I try to help and support and share content on and be friends and lift people up, because I think if we lift people up, great things come our way. And if you want to be great at sales, your customers, your prospects, lift them up, support them, talk to them, be friends with them, just with no expectation of any PO or anything coming your way. Just be great friends with them. Randy Chafee talks all the time about he has this win pile, and he throws wins on the win pile, but he has a relationship pile that's even bigger. And the relationship pile always turns into the win pile because he just pours into those people all the time.
Yep.
It's life. Pour into people and great things will happen to you.
And, you want to do something, every now and then there are people in our lives that we lose touch with, and you want to do a real good act of kindness. Just get on the phone and call that person.
Yeah.
Just to say, hey, you know what? I it's been years since I've seen you. I miss you. How are you? Is everything okay? Yeah. We're thinking about wonderful, things that we've done together. You've been my friend for a long time, but why not? Why not? I do that often.
Yeah.
I do that just on a whim. It's like I said earlier, an act of kindness has become such a part of who I am. And I realized, and this sounds selfish, I really do it for myself.
Yeah.
Because it really takes me to a higher place. It takes me to another place. And I feel empowered when I do that. And the fact that you're helping someone else and you're doing it is the thing that makes you feel empowered, which makes us all realize, and I know you'll agree with this, that we are all connected somehow, some way. And it's that act of kindness is one of those elements that makes that connection possible. Let's read that.
Yeah, my friend Jay just commented, 100% little bits of kindness mean so much more than the massive gestures. I tell people in the drive-through, food bank, etc., I appreciate you being here today. Thank you for taking care of me. It cost me 0.01 seconds and $0. I agree. Even I'm single. Jay, I know Jay is single, and the big grand gesture of going out with someone and having 36,000 flowers and like that stuff fades. But open the door for me, not me, but open the door for her every day. And you know what's a lost art, and it's really weird in men, and it is if you're on a date and she goes to the bathroom and she comes back, stand up. Show some respect to the lady you're with, man. I'm just telling you, that stuff goes a long way, and
that's pretty cool.
It's those little things that add up to really big things, and for sure.
And you know what? And that's why I was talking to some people. My brother's been in and out of the hospital. He's the one that's 100% disabled from the Vietnam War, and he was telling me one of the things that keeps him going. Not the doctors per se, it's really the nurses with the acts of kindness.
Yeah.
That extra care that the human spirit could feel.
Yeah.
It's beyond their job description. It's who they are. Yeah. And I've spoken to many nurses in my career as a speaker, the Association of Registered Nurses, critical nurses, emergency nurses. I mean, 8,000 people in the audience. And I've often told them that nurses are the glue that keeps hospitals together. It's not the doctors, it's the nurses. It's that intangible act of kindness that they give to the people who really feel that there's no hope left at all.
Right.
But they make them feel appreciated, and they make people live in the moment, that appreciate that even though they're in practically their deathbed. But in that moment, they're alive because these nurses are either making them laugh or fluffing their pillow and grabbing their hand in such an affectionate way, saying,
giving them sponge baths.
Yeah. You're an asshole. Yeah, things like that. But you know what I mean. Thank you, brother, for his service. Yes. Ashley, thank you so much. I thank him every day. He's the biggest inspiration of my life. As a matter of fact, folks, if you want a really great story, go to my website, steverizzo.com, and look under my programs on Embrace Change, the biggest inspiration of my life, my brother Michael's story. It'll flip you out. And it's dead on. It's dead on.
Well, the last thing that I had written down to talk about was an act of kindness in the last 10 days, 10 days, was actually from you. I sent you the video of me speaking in Toledo, and I asked if you'd watch it. And I called you up, and you said, "Hey, I watched it twice."
Yeah.
And you know what? It was my one day out of every like 6-7 months where I'm kind of a little just because I'm very optimistic. I was just like, I wasn't feeling it, right? And you said, "Hey, I watched it twice, and here's a couple of things for you." And I said, "Thank you." And we talked about it. And then we were getting ready to get off the phone. And I said, "Hey, all right, I'll see you next week." And you said to me, "I love you, brother." And I said, "Cool, man. I love you too." And you go, "No, I love you, man." And I said, "I love you too." And I felt so good. And it was such a great moment that you don't even know. You probably didn't even you had no idea you did it.
Right.
But I felt I felt so good, so I just want to tell you thank you.
I appreciate you saying it, but just so you know, I really didn't watch the video.
I know. I'm aware.
No, I did, but no, I get you. And it's sometimes what you just said. I'll say that to some people sometimes, and you don't get a response because they feel awkward. You know, you say to someone, "Hey, man, I love you. It's so good to see you again," and they go, "Good to see you." You know, they're afraid to say it back.
Right.
You know, it's just amazing how awkward people feel, which just goes to show you how desensitized they are from the very essence of who we all are, which is love, which is where kindness comes from, which is where gratitude comes from. That's why people have a hard time being kind to themselves and other people, and why they can't be grateful for what they have, because they don't feel it. They don't feel the love thing. You know, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, mostly John Lennon, said it right. One of my favorite songs of all times. All you need is love.
Yeah.
And you build your life around that. And that's what that song's all about.
Well, you, like I said, you had no idea that day. Like that was the one day I get every 6 months where I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. And then I talked to you and I felt great afterwards. So like, here's world-renowned Steve Rizzo watched my freaking video twice. And then, you know, and like I said, you know, like, "Hey, I love you." And I kind of dismissed it a little bit. You're like, "No, man. Hey, I love you." And I'm like, "I love you too, bro." And I got off the phone and I freaking, clicked my heels the rest of the day. So thank you.
Good for you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Compliments are free and abundant. That's right, Carolyn.
I'm still waiting for my Caroline. I'm checking my DMs. I still haven't gotten one from you. So there's Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Hey, Eric the man. Jamie is awesome, and she is super cool and an opinionated young lady and lives here in Tulsa. And Jamie, I need some coats from you. Thank you very much.
Coke? Did you say
coats? Coats.
Okay.
Coats.
Hey, it's my cousin Danny.
Hey, Danny.
Greenan. Good evening, Dan.
Danny, do us both a favor. DM us both a compliment after the show's over. Thank you.
Yeah. You could be you could be late, Dan. Just don't let it happen again.
Jamie, I need 5 coats from you, please. Five coats. I know you got them. So
5 coats. Well, you know what, man? This was a good show. This was great. And Bruce, are there any more comments that we forgot? Something you might want to throw up?
Jim Perry, the Thanksgiving show is a fantastic idea. It will bless so many. Thanks in advance. I agree. To let everyone jump on here and go live and talk about what they're take a minute or two and say what they're thankful for, I think is huge. Joe Batterson just commented, said great show. Facebook user, which is probably Eric Flournoy, said the pronoun means a lot as well. There are some that can say love you, but even more struggle to say I love you, and that is a true. Love you feels very generic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love you is very intentional.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. But you know what? This is going to be a special show. So, Carolyn,
there's Jody.
Do me a favor. Carolyn Ann is on.
Put Jody's comment back up there.
Yep. Who's?
Jody. There we go. Wonderful show tonight, guys. Great perspective. It was good for the soul. Heart.
Thank you, Jody.
And then Kellen Ann. Kellen is on a cruise right now, I think.
Yeah, Kellen's on a cruise. Kellen.
Yeah.
So at Kellen and Carolyn, do me a favor, Carolyn. Connect with the people from the National Speakers Association. Tell them to tune in on the show next week. It's going to be a special show. I think we're going to probably have to extend it, but we want to hear what everyone is thankful for. Let's get into this. Let's spread the word for this show next week. That'll be Thursday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to blast the hell out of it. Share it with your friends and family and people that you don't even know. I so much appreciate your comments.
Do you think maybe next week you could wear a blazer? Because Bruce and I are both wearing blazers tonight. You wear like a tracksuit or something. Do you think you could put on a coat? Bruce, where you at? Bruce, you still got your blazer on?
I seriously doubt that. I'm not going to be wearing a blazer.
You wearing a tracksuit tonight or something? I don't even know what you're wearing. What is that?
I'm not wearing a blazer. I'm wearing a shirt. What are you talking about?
Could you wear like a velour tracksuit or something and really just gussy it up a little next week?
Yeah, what do you got on there, Bruce? What is that?
It's a jacket, but it's dark. It's got a dark background.
Yeah, Brucey's wearing a blazer and stuff too.
What are you, Johnny Cash? Well, I want to let your old John in on the Thanksgiving event next Thursday on November 17th. Oh, I hear the train a coming.
Going around the bend.
You ever notice Johnny Cash sounds like Mr. Ed? No word.
Dan Greenan said, "Are you wearing no pants, Steve?"
I was just going to say that. I am naked from the waist down, Dan.
Well, there we go.
That's any of your business.
Robert
You're
Brooker.
very welcome, Robert.
Thanks, Steve and Eric. Great show. John, send us a DM, us all a compliment. Thank you. Kellen's wearing Mickey Mouse ears. Kellen, DM us all a compliment. Thank you. And I think it's time for some music. What do you think? We're excited about next week, but is it time for some music?
Yep. What do you mean, music for what?
To get out of here.
Oh, yeah, we do have to leave. Folks, please, again, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about Thanksgiving. We want your comments. We want you all to join in. Write it down. Make a note. Tell your friends. And everyone, if you haven't purchased this book, I know a lot of you have, and I thank you for your incredible reviews. It's 5 stars on Amazon. It hasn't been out that long. Go to yourinnerbob.com. You can read 5 excerpts from the book. You can watch videos that are about the book. It's getting wonderful reviews. This is the main reason why I was put on this planet. It took me 7 years to write. I started writing it at the lowest point in my life. 7 years. Every time I thought I was finished, Bob, who is God, said, "No, you're not. You got to keep going." Buy the book. I know you'll love it. I would love your feedback. You guys are great. Eric, thank you so much for who you are. Bruce, thank you for who you are. Stay on the show, guys, when the show's over, because I just want to talk a little bit.
And see y'all next week.
Bye.